This year's been great because we've had we put the feelers out for people to do remixes. A lot of people that myself and Ord are currently championing, as DJs, and it turns out everyone has a favourite Soma record. So, we've had people like Joris, and we've had too many people to mention.
Absolutely.
I've come back and said, yeah, I want to remix this track, I want to do this track, blah blah blah, and so it's been an amazing response.
I mean, with nearly over 400 singles, there were plenty there, and so people were asked to choose something that had touched them at the time and to reinterpret it. And to be honest, I think we ended up with over 60 remixes back. But we never kind of dreamed that everyone would say yes. It's quite hard to get a release on Soma now, to get your foot in amongst all the other releases. So yeah, things are good.
God, it's 1996, 97 now, and I was going to a friend of mine's party in Glasgow, like a friend of mine from college, and I just called them up and said I had these 4 tracks that I'd done, didn't really suit the label I was on in Birmingham, and they let me come to the office and play them, and then a week and a half later I got the call from Ord from Slam saying, we love it, have you thought about making an album? And I was just like, it blew my mind. I was just like, an album? I'd never even thought about making an album. So
with Ewan had sent us some amazing demos, and it was purely the music alone, so each time it's different for each artist. It's not easy to it's not always easy to say it's that one thing or the other, but with Ewan it was definitely all about what he was doing musically.
First release ever was on Soma Records. It was 1993. I remember going up and sleeping on Dave Clark's West End flat floor, just a kid. I stepped on this floor, I went in the studio, and there was a guy called Jim and Glenn, and they were Rejuvenation, the band.
Myself and Ord had loads of ideas at the time, and we kind of hooked up with Glenn Gibbons and Jim Matuni, who were guys who knew how to make the music. We didn't. It was all
didn't have any equipment.
Weird for us. So they were the guys who knew how to put get our ideas across.
They ran the studio, Soma Studios. They had a wicked studio. They come from like proper pop projects and session players, and they had a proper place. So the record sounded really good for a start. So we went to their studios. Jim engineered it. And we did this track on Soma called Percussion Obsession, with just loads of percussion loops in it. And we nicked off a mix, engineered by Jim, did pretty much nothing, and then I think the project folded. No, it didn't. We made another record on Soma, which was absolutely brilliant. It's one of the best records you've ever made, called Future Remembrance, which is still by far one of the best records you've ever made. That was the second Otaku. We did 2 records, those 2.
There's no one kind of prototype or one kind of it's not one size fits all. I mean, with Ralph was like a really good friend that we used to hang out with, and Basic started roughly about the same time doing clubs and stuff, and so it was like it was a friendship thing. It's like Ralph.
I worked for Soma when I moved to Glasgow. I worked for them for a little bit on their anniversary compilation, and was in the office at the time with Silicon Soul, and it was a really influential time actually for me. Daft Punk and all of that whole thing happening in Glasgow, somewhere so close to where I grew up.
The Daft Punk stories. Yeah, I mean, again, it was quite a natural thing, because we were in France doing I think
with Nicky Holloway.
At Euro Disney. It was
they kind of tracked us down because they were very taken with Positive Education, one of our singles, and I think that was the point of contact.
Yeah, so for us the music was really different, and it just had something that was really unique about it, and But people often ask the same question: could you have seen that Daft Punk would become the major force that they are now from those initial demos? And no, we couldn't. But we knew there was something really special about what they were doing.
Glasgow's such an amazing city, it's Scotland generally. I mean, it's that thing, it's, Soma massive, yeah.
The whole Soma thing is a massive part of Irish dance culture, and they've been coming since I was a child. When I first started sneaking into nightclubs like the Temple of Sound when I was like 14 and getting away with it, and we'd always see Stuart and Ord DJing. So they've come a long way, and respected them, and it'd be nice to check them out tonight, really. They're all grown up now, and then some.
It's such an independent label to have succeeded and went on and done their own thing and be so internationally accepted, and I've done so many influential things. It's an amazing thing.
A lot of the bands we'd actually grown up listening to, like Joy Division and some of the punk stuff, it was all on independent labels, and there was never really a question of like, oh, let's try and sign this music to a major record label. It was a bit of a buzz to try and do this ourselves. I mean, the whole DIY ethic of running a party, of putting on something and kind of doing your own flyers and decking the place out, and that was all running a label was a kind of spin off really from that kind of ethos. So
I think labels are still really important. I think curation in that sense is really important. Somebody having a kind of editorial stance and organising things and selecting things, and the reason why labels like that are still in business is that when you see Warp or you see Soma or whatever, it's like that somebody's been thinking about selecting, going through all the demos and listening to so much music so that you don't have to, and in that sense it's a mark of quality.
Never really thinking past that next release, because you want to make that next release the best, and
that's your focus.
You want to concentrate. Yeah, so it is the focus. I mean, to try and plan and a year, 5 years ahead, it's difficult. It's a difficult thing to do, because then it stops becoming quite natural, a natural process. It has to be a natural process.